Hello and welcome to this second video on the newsletter system. The first video engaged in what you need to create page-wise and block-wise in order to be able to add the information that we're going to add now. Some of these pages have dependencies, especially towards each other, and I'm going to show you what they are, how to handle them, and what information you should have in your system. First of all, we started up by creating a block to allow the user to be added to the newsletter list. We have created a core article to hold or to be as a section for all the newsletters and the system files, and we've created a newsletter just to see how it looks, and a confirmation page and an unsubscribe page. So we will start with the confirmation page. The confirmation page is what the user receives in his inbox after adding him or herself to the newsletter subscription block. When the user clicks send in this field, the user will receive within a couple of minutes an email with the information you input here. And since we're within Europe, we have to stand GDPR. So what I've done is I've created a standard text in order to allow for the user to receive the correct information of what we do with the person's information, email, and what we will send that person. First of all, the front page of the confirmation page does very little. It is the place that the user is sent when the user clicks on confirm email. So if you want, you can add a thank you note and maybe some text in to your social medias or to your news section or whatever else you feel the new user or a user that has shown the mission interest needs to know to be better suited to find information that it's looking for. So this field is just an open text field. You can add whatever you want here. I would recommend a short, specific text on what you do, how you do it, and where you do it. A small thank you note. Thank you for subscribing. This is a confirmation on you subscribing to our list, and so on and so forth. But the main field in this page is under all properties. And you enter all properties by clicking the all properties button at the top right corner. Now, the thing I just said about thank you notes and content is what you see right here. But we need to click the email button in order to get the mandatory information right. And just to be precise, you only have to do this once. This is something that every user will receive. You don't have to create one of these for every newsletter. This is one that every newsletter and a subscription page, everything uses this one page. So use a little bit of time, get it right the first time, and have a good confirmation page that will surprise and entice the user who has shown interest in your mission. So first is email subject, which is the subject field of what a person will receive, aka this field. So what you enter in the subject field would be something like this. It will be thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. In the mail it will receive will be something like this. And the next field is the logo title. The logo title is the Norway and text. Since this is an email being sent out, we cannot fetch the information text as we usually do from everyone else. So what you need to do is insert the logo text and the logo subtitle. The logo subtitle is the same as on the top of the front page. It's the Royal Norwegian Embassy, etc., etc. And once again, the header length will be the same. Usually I would recommend using the same as the subject. So just paste that in as well. And then we come to the more important part. The important part being the GDPR information. And I just pasted in right now, just raw and unformatted. But you cannot do that much formatting. That's why I want to do this for you and with you. So this information is available to you from the central content. If you want it, I can send it to you, but it will be also linked in this article. So if you need the information or the text to this information, just copy it from there. Just give the article some open and free areas. It's really important that you just leave it like this. And the reason that you cannot edit and add bold text, links, images and stuff like that is because this is going to be sent out as an email. And we don't know what kind of email system the recipient has. So because of that, we need to have a pure text-based system. I've added a short text at the bottom that describes the crisis situation. If you're in a country with a high crisis alertness, you would maybe want to add some information here. This information is also, as you can see, just in English. You can translate it to your local language and add it in there, but please do not change the first 3 paragraphs. This is law-based information, and it's important that we give this information to the user. Because of GDPR, we have to give them information on what we store and what we use with what we've stored, and what we're going to send them, and what we do when we delete the information. It's also important with the 4th part that we do not redistribute, and of course you should never do that. So that is basically it. So I've added the from address is there. Always, if you try to change the email at this point, the email will not be sent out. So leave the from address as is. It's automatically added for a reason, so just leave it. The part email subject, logo title, logo subtitle, email header and email paragraph is something you can fill in for once again with the GDPR information, and you can add more text if you want at the paragraph 2. The last 2 buttons are also, as you can see, they've previously filled, and that's because they are static. Please click the link below to confirm your subscription. And the button text is confirm subscription. Now let's just click publish. If we go back and look at the article right now, you can see the article or confirmation page has no information in it. That's because all the information that we've added now is added in the system. I had a small text about this before we went into the system, but you can add a thank you note or a text link or link to, I don't know, practical information, other areas that you are active in, social media, whatever. So that concludes how the newsletter confirmation page works. And let's jump over to the newsletter unsubscribe page. The unsubscribe page is what the user sees when they unsubscribe to our page. When they click unsubscribe, they will be taken to this page, and we will say a message, which is the message that you see now, with an additional text and says sorry to see you go. You can add text here, you can add image to try to keep the user on for some reason. You can also maybe ask them if they want to follow us on social media instead or in addition, or why they left, send you an email and stuff like that. It's possible to add the information that you want, but I would not take very much time on this page. They will probably not even look at it. They will just say confirmed and they will be gone. When a user wants to leave the newsletter, it's really determined. As you may know, when you leave a newsletter, usually there's no question about you leaving or not. In the All Properties view, you have some more features. You can add all the information that I told you. You can add images, you can add links to internal section, you can do whatever and try to get your user to stay. But once again, don't use too much time on this page. The one thing you have to do is you have to set the newsletter list. Otherwise, the user will not be removed from the list. And hence, once again, GDPR demands us to remove things from the lists, or users, not things. So we have to do this. So now let's go down, and in my case, let's find India, add India to the list, and that's all I have to do. Now click publish. So when a user goes in, removes himself from the list, he will be removed from the list India. If you have more lists that you use, for example, for a consulate general, delegation, whatever, you can send a mail to Webdesk and we will create a separate list for that entity. You cannot use one list, or you can, but it could be a problem sending out the newsletter because you cannot differentiate between India or a Bangladeshi. So nothing else here that you want to see. Once again, the newsletter unsubscribe and confirmation page does not have the display in navigation checked. That's because nobody needs to see it. So that concludes the unsubscribe. Let's go to the information block or newsletter block that we have on the front page. When we edit that, you will have the ability to add a title and a short description. I would keep this description text as short as possible. It's just to entice the user to add themselves to the newsletter. Maybe a short introduction on what you do, what type of information you're going to send, and how often you will send it. But under all properties, there's one thing you have to do, or actually two things. You will have to add the newsletter list. Once again, is India for me. You'll have to check the email verification, and you will have to add the confirmation page to the confirmation page checkbox. Once that is done, you can click publish, and now when a user adds himself or herself to the subscription box and clicks add, it will be sent an email with the verification information we've just added, and the person will be added to the list. And the next time you send a newsletter, which is the last part, the person will receive the newsletter. The newsletter is in its separate video. So we're going to stop here and go over to the next